The police department is focused on cracking down on underage crime, but she also doesn't want to rely on a model that locks young people up. The department has put a focus on holding parents more accountable. Southern China is in the midst of battling a big outbreak of a mosquito-borne illness. Could the virus come here?
It's called chikungunya, a painful and debilitating disease most often seen in the tropics, but also in Central and South America and now China. St. Louis University infectious diseases specialist Dr. Sarah George.
It's transmitted by the bite of an infected mosquito, but the problem is that people who get the disease are infectious then to mosquitoes. So if a mosquito bites them while they have the disease, and then that mosquito bites that another person, the mosquito will then transmit the disease, the virus.
Theoretically, Dr. George says chikungunya could end up in St. Louis, but again, it would have to come from someone who was bitten by an infected mosquito in China, then rebitten by a mosquito here, who would then have to bite someone else here to give them the virus. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
The KMOX Business Desk, President Trump has signed an executive order that could lead to Americans being able to add cryptocurrency, real estate, and private equity investments to their 401k plans. The order enables the Labor Department and other agencies to consider redefining a qualified asset within a 401k. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says there could be significant rewards to 401k investors, but there are also risks.
The risk is that these are volatile assets and they tend not to be liquid, meaning that if you want to sell them, sometimes it's hard to get out.
Schlesinger says high fees are often associated with cryptocurrency, real estate, and private equity investments. The Dow from Stifel up 177 points to 44,145. Got an issue with the traffic signals on 67 going north at Tealbrook Drive. All the lanes are open, but of course, if the traffic signals are flashing or out, treat that as a four-way stop. Stall vehicle 370 east to St. Louis Mills on the right shoulder, and a stall 270 east at Lindbergh on the right shoulder.
It's August, it's summertime. Of course, it's St. Louis. Sunny, hot, and humid going through our afternoon. 95 for the high. Tonight, clear, warm, and humid, 76. Not a lot of change on Saturday. Sunny, hot, humid, right back to 95 degrees. 76 Saturday night, and Sunday, mostly sunny. Kind of hot and humid, though a touch cooler. 93. Okay. It's still hot, 93 degrees. Let's keep this going into next week. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
We've got sunshine. It's 89 in St. Peters and Florissant and downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. And by Anderson Hospital, a Newsweek World's Best Hospital. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Here we go on a Friday afternoon alongside of Mike Claiborne. My name's Matt Pauley. Welcome into the program. We have you for the next hour. The voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, is going to join us at 12:30. We are sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, and by Anderson Hospital. Claibs, great to see you. Welcome back to St. Louis. Cardinals Cubs tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's good to see you too, Matt. And yeah, you're right. Cardinals, Cubs. I don't care what the standings look like. I don't care what the calendar says. Whenever these two teams get together, it's going to be fun.
So
now the question is this. Here's a question for you. Are we going to have more Cub fans in the ballpark tonight than Cardinal fans?
Oh, I hope not.
Because, they travel well. And while the Cardinals are playing better, Cub fans think they can just roll in here and take over the joint. And I'm not sure if I'm buying that.
So we have some news, and I will get to that in just a second. But since you brought this up, when I was working in Milwaukee, Claibs, because Milwaukee's, it's essentially a suburb of Chicago. You can get to Milwaukee quicker than you can get to some places in Chicago, depending on traffic. There would be sometimes 75, 80, 85% of the fans would be Cubs fans. Eric Thames, who played for the Brewers, told a story that he's in the dugout. He's using the facility so he can't actually see, and he hears the crowd just erupt, and he thinks the team did something, so he finishes his business very, very quickly and comes running out so he can celebrate with his teammates, and it was the Cubs who did something because of all the stinking Cubs fans that were in there.
I love Eric Thames. He's one of the best. He was one of my favorite people, but that makes sense. I mean, hey, you tip your cap to them. They do a good job. It's just like when the Cardinals are on the road, the Cardinal fans travel well. We had good representation out on the coast, but I know the Cubs are feeling themselves right now, and rightfully so. They've been playing good baseball most of the year, but I'm looking forward to a fun weekend of baseball. The Cardinals are playing better. Taking those 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a good series. They played well. Winning the two games that they won were well played. Let's get into the news that just broke hour and a half, 2 hours ago or so. Oliver Marmol announcing that Cardinals great Yadier Molina, he was going to be in town for an event and a signing and some other things, and Ollie made the decision to go ahead and invite Yadi to be part of essentially the coaching staff for a couple days. He's going to be in full uniform. He's going to be in the dugout, and it's going to be fun. I know a lot of Cardinals fans have been clamoring for Yadi to be a bigger part of the organization. They hired him into that special advisor or assistant role, and nothing really came of that, but we finally get to see Yadi back with the Cardinals in kind of an official capacity, at least for a couple days.
Yeah, you know what? When the news broke, I was kind of like, okay, because I thought this was supposed to happen 2 years ago. But anytime you have a great player around, you certainly it's an advantage for sure, and hopefully it's something that Yadi can learn from too. I know he wants to be a manager, and I know he's going to manage a Team Puerto Rico. But the bottom line is this: managing a country's team and managing a Major League Baseball team are two completely different things. And my point being this: when you manage a national team, that's 6 weeks. And obviously you're doing some planning along the way. But when you manage a baseball team in the majors, you have to include spring training. You have to include playing 162 games in 180 days. There's a lot of other things that go into it. And, we see the coaches, they go through the whole thing as well. This is not an easy job. And hopefully he has a chance to see how this thing works. Because when you play for yourself as an individual, that's different than trying to figure out how to manage 26 players and coaches and the other staff that comes with it. It's quite an undertaking. So I'm glad to have him here. Hopefully he can learn about how this works as far as not playing anymore. And let's see what happens. And if we win all three, we'll have him back for the Colorado series.
Yeah, you and I are both fond of Oliver Marmol, and I think it's worth mentioning. Marmol, to a certain percentage of the fan base, is not a favorite individual, and he takes a lot of criticism. We see the comments that come in on this and on the text line and everything. I'm not breaking any news when I say there is part of the Cardinals fan base and a vocal part that do not like him, and a lot of times Yadi's name gets brought up as somebody who could be in that job. I think, Claves, it says a lot about the man, Oliver Marmol, that
I agree.
He welcomes him in like this. There's a lot. Most managers, if they turn on the radio and they're hearing callers call in all the time trying to get this guy out of his job and get somebody else in, the last thing they're going to do is welcome in the guy that the fans are clamoring for.
No, I agree. But you're right. It says a lot about Oliver Marmol as a person who's very comfortable in his own skin. And you're around him, I'm around him. And here's the question I have for you, and you deal with this more than I do.
Can I pause you, Claves? Let me pause you real quick, because I just found out we have Oliver Marmol on the line with us right now.
Well, welcome, Skip.
We don't.
We don't? Okay.
Hold on. Do we have him? Oh, you know what? We got him. Go ahead. We're going to get him in the next segment. My apologies.
All right,
there was a little bit of miscommunication. Go ahead, Claves. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
Now I lost my train of thought. You can't throw curveballs at me anymore. I don't hit the breaking ball as well as I used to. But no, I think when you look at this situation, it's cool. I mean, in Ollie's case, I always I know what I was going to ask you. You deal with this more than I do. Why do people not like Oliver Marmol? I mean, he's accessible. He's very transparent. he manages what he's been given to manage. Okay. And I think we had to take that into account. Now granted, he's going to make moves. You say, well, why is he doing that? And you shoot from the hip and not knowing there's a reason why that you didn't know. And that's one of the things about him where maybe somebody's hurt or maybe the numbers don't stack up against a certain pitcher. But those are things we don't take into account. We just say, fire the manager because it didn't work. And I didn't hear anybody complaining about the other night when he decided to pinch hit Pozo. And that was a situation where, normally you say, well, if we pinch hit him, we don't have another catcher. And then you say, well, we got Wilson. Wilson hadn't caught a ball behind the plate in almost a year. Okay. So I don't want him in that situation. His matchups from a pitching standpoint, the games that they won out in California and certainly in LA, that was managing. That was flat out managing, getting the right matchups as far as pitchers are concerned. And oh, by the way, he only has one left-handed pitcher in his bullpen. And how he was able to utilize him and getting the matchups that he wanted, that's managing to me. So when people say they don't like him, I say to them, well, do you know him? And that doesn't mean you have to go out and cut grass with him or go have a beer with him or anything along that line. But I think if you listen to when he talks to the media, you get a better idea of who he is as an individual. And so I'm kind of scratching my head on why people don't like him unless there's another ulterior motive that I'm not aware of.
Well, you're going to get a chance to listen to him a little bit more. He's going to join us in just a moment. We'll find out more of the details on what led to Yadier Molina returning to the Cardinals for a couple days and being in the dugout. The Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol joins us in just a moment right here on KMOX.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Paid for by Action Matters. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention parents of children who have used the gaming platform known as Roblox. If your child was a victim of sexual abuse or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to compensation. Roblox is facing multiple high-profile lawsuits, including an ongoing class action, alleging it failed to protect users from foreseeable dangers that led to the grooming, exploitation, and sexual abuse of minors on the platform. Claims allege Roblox turned a blind eye to predators, unsafe games, and deceptive monetization practices that targeted children. Victims were contacted through in-game chats and coerced into private conversations on third-party apps. If you believe your child may have been a victim of grooming, sexual abuse, or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to a cash settlement. Text our helpline now to find out if you have a viable compensation claim against Roblox. Text GONE to 32 32 32. That's GONE to 32 32 32. GONE to 32 32 32.
Summer is here, and it's time to plan your style staycation with Bob's Discount Furniture, where you can find everyday low prices on the hottest styles. The comfiest Consumer Reports recommended mattresses, fast, friendly delivery, and flexible financing to fit your budget. Go to mybobs.com for details. So stock up and score everyday low prices, delivered on time all summer long at your nearest store or at mybobs.com.
Oh, my Bob! Bob's Discount Furniture.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Named one of Newsweek's World's Best Hospitals for 2025, Anderson Hospital is your hospital for life, delivering exceptional, compassionate care to families across the Metro East. From emergency services to specialized treatments, our dedicated team supports your health at every stage. Experience world-class care close to home. Discover the difference at andersonhospital.org.
News, talk, cards. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Molina singles up the middle. Here's Berkman coming around third. Hamilton with the throw home, and it goes off Young's glove. Berkman scores the Cardinals' 6th run of the game, and the Redbirds lead by 4 in the 7th inning.
Alongside of Mike Claiborne, I'm Matt Pauley. It is the Gashouse Gang, and there's going to be some extra juice in the ballpark over the next couple days, not just because it's the Cardinals and the Cubs, but announced earlier today that Yadier Molina, the Cardinals' great catcher who was going to be in town for an event and a signing, well, Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol extended him the invitation to come be kind of part of the staff for the next couple days, be in uniform in the dugout, and he accepted that invitation. It's going to be a lot of fun, and with that, we're very happy to welcome onto the show Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. Ollie, thanks so much for taking some time with us today. How are you?
Absolutely. Tom texted me, said you guys had some questions, so I figured I'm driving in. I'll take the call.
I'm going to save my questions until later today. I don't have anything to add. Coming up with stupid questions, man, I have to really concentrate on that. So I'm going to save mine until later today.
Claves, that's one of your specialties.
Hey, man, we all have specialties in certain things, all right? I know my swim lane here, so it's all good. It's all good. Hey, you're going to have Yachty on the bench tonight. That should be interesting as well as fun because we haven't seen him since he retired. So are you going to let him take the card out and let him get thrown out tonight as well if you don't like the pitches?
It's in case me and Descalzo get thrown out like we did in Milwaukee, then we do have a backup plan tonight. But no, man, this is going to be fun for so many reasons. One, to have him back in St. Louis, to have him. This is a guy that means a lot to this organization who did a heck of a lot for it. And if he's going to be in town, to not have him in that dugout, I think is a huge miss. So it's an understatement when I say that I'm really looking forward to having him next to me over the next 2 days. Not only for the players, man, but also for the fans. I think this will be good for Yachty. It'll be good for the fans. Comes with, it's well worth it.
Ollie, can you take us through a little bit just the process of how this all came together?
It was Yachty reached out a couple months ago, said he was going to be in town, and he was looking forward to it. And he texted me a couple weeks ago, and same thing, just, hey, man, coming to town, love to see you. And he reached out to Mo and myself and said, hey, what do you guys think about being in uniform? And my response was pretty quick and definitive. It was absolutely. Let's make it happen, and not only for BP and practice, but sit with me during the game. If you're going to be here for 2 days, let's enjoy both days. And he's excited about it, and so are we, man.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about your ball club. A good run in L.A. against the Dodgers. Those were some fun games, as I mentioned earlier. Watching you manage those games and putting guys in a position to succeed was a lot of fun, along with watching people in that role. And I look at a guy like Leahy, I look at Swanson, I look at some other guys who are gradually ascending and taking more charge of their careers and certainly their impact on this ball club. How much fun is that for you to watch?
That's been the most fun, is what you just described, Claves. It's giving these guys opportunities in situations that earlier in the year weren't available to them as far as higher leverage, and seeing how they respond to it, man. But the LA series was fun for that exact reason, seeing certain guys step up and take that next step in confidence in their career. And a couple guys come to mind. What Leahy was able to do in that last game was pretty electric, man, especially against that lineup. And then for JoJo to come in and get his lane, starting out Ohtani through Freeman, and then he gets bailed out with a ground ball to short from Teoscar because Riley does his job and finishes the game. Just all of it. These guys are going to be put in situations that are meaningful, big spots, and they have to grow into them. But that's been the fun part, is seeing how they respond to certain parts of the game.
When it comes to this young,
go ahead, Matt. No, go please. Go.
Just talk about this young group, because just the experience of being able to go in there and getting those couple wins against the Dodgers and winning tight games and coming back. And now you've talked a lot about with this Yachty situation, having him around young players. How much of a focus is it right now on the experiences and everything that goes along with, continuing to progress forward for young players on the team? And that includes just the experience of being in a dugout with Yachty for a couple days.
That's the main focus right now, is when you're building something that is going to be lasting. You have to instill in this young group the difference between being a good player and a winning player. And there's a big difference there, man. And this is where Yachty has a very unique way of communicating what it looks like to be selfless, what it looks like to truly devote yourself to your craft in a way that allows for championship caliber baseball. And I'm looking forward to him being able to articulate that to this group in just casual conversations, not in a big meeting, no, just in talking to different players and just communicating, man, the difference between being good and being a winning player. And the more conversations you can have around that, that's the luxury that we have as an organization is, man, when Lou Brock and all these guys would just come around when Yachty was playing, like, well, guess what? Well, now he's that version of one of the Cardinal legends that gets to come around and instill the certain values that made this successful for a long time in the young group that we have. So you have to take advantage of that.
Ollie, you've managed most of your adult life at one level or another, and as we're talking to you, it's a little after 12, and you're already at the ballpark for a 7 o'clock game. There's a lot that goes into everything before you even walk that lineup card out there. Give us an idea of how that works for you.
Man, yeah, there is a lot of work that goes into it, and the staff does a really nice job of getting here early. And everyone has their respective areas that they're focused on. So I usually get all of my work done around this time in order to have some free time for the staff that'll come in. And you have a lot of individual conversations with Descalzo and Jay, and then Stubby with the infielders, and then Brant Brown for the hitters, and then Dusty for the pitchers. But you're fielding a lot of different questions and making sure that you're ahead of it before the players get here. And then once the players get here, you have a decent idea of who you're trying to meet with and what message you're trying to communicate to them based on the day before and what you need moving forward. And then the real day starts where you have your early work, whether that's the defense, base running, or hitting, and you're running guys through their stations there. And then batting practice happens. You have a hitters meeting where Brownie covers everything for that starters day and the bullpens that we may face that day. And then the bullpen has their separate meeting. And then lastly, Dusty has his meeting with the starting pitcher, and all the catchers attend that meeting as well to make sure that the game planning is tight. You shower, you eat, and you go out there for first pitch and compete.
You forgot the best part about the day. You forgot about the best part of the day.
There
you go. There you I know how much you look forward to that.
Man, I don't.
I know you're tight for time, Ollie. One last thing for you before we do get you out of here. It's Cardinals-Cubs, and obviously this rivalry and this series means so much to Cardinals fans. Sometimes for players, it's a little bit hard to understand the impact of the rivalry, and when you're in the grunt of a 6-month season, every day kind of feels like one of 162. How do you handle that as the manager, knowing that, yeah, it is one of 162, but from at least a fan standpoint, these games are very, very important?
They're very important, and that's what fandom's about, man, is rallying around your team and finding the excitement around this style of game and matchup, especially a weekend series here at home against these guys. There's a lot to be excited about. So, no, you take that into account. It is one of 162, but I love playing these guys, whether it's home or away, man. I just love just going toe-to-toe and seeing kind of who comes out of it on top. So, I'm looking forward to this series. It'll be a good matchup. These guys have played pretty good baseball for the majority of the year. Our guys are looking forward to it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens over the next 3 days.
Well, Ollie, we really appreciate your time. We will we'll get to the ballpark a little later than you, but we'll see you at the ballpark coming up later on today.
No, you got it. Good talking to y'all.
All right, thanks, okay. Ollie. Appreciate you.
Very good. That's Cardinals manager Oliver Marlowe. You know, Claves, another thing with this Yachty situation. I think Ollie wanted the fans, and I think he reached out to media earlier today, kind of say that this was going to be happening. I get the sense that he's excited about this, and he wanted to make sure that everybody knew what was going on and why it was going on, and that's part of why he just hopped on with us.
Yeah, that's who he is, though. I mean, I'm not surprised, in how he did this. And, I think he wants to get fans engaged. I tell you something, Matt. We just left two cities where the fans are like just rabid right now. And granted, the San Diego and the Dodgers are playing well. I get that. But the place it's packed. There's a lot of energy in the ballpark, and it's something that we've lacked this year on a consistent basis. And hopefully we can get that going this evening with a good team in Chicago coming in. But, man, fan participation, I think right now is at an all-time high in sports. COVID is behind us. Other things are going on in the world. But I think when I see games take place, whether it's Cardinal baseball or other sporting events, fan engagement now is at a level that I haven't seen in a long time.
It's going to be a fun weekend. We've got an opportunity for you to check it out coming up on Sunday. We're going to give away 4 tickets to the game coming up on Sunday. If you
Sunday
would like
night,
to,
by the way.
Yeah, Sunday night baseball. Looking forward to that. It got moved in case you didn't realize it's not an afternoon game on Sunday. It will be Sunday night baseball. If you want to head to Busch Stadium and take 3 of your closest friends, you can do so by being caller number 18 at 314-955-1120. That's 314-955-1120, and you've got an opportunity to win 4 tickets to see the Cardinals and the Cubs match up against each other on Sunday night baseball. We'll take a break, and when we return, we'll be joined by the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney. That's up next right here on the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Wake up informed. Wake up empowered. Wake up to Total Information AM, your morning must.
Hi, this is Debbie Monterey. I'm Megan Lynch.
This is Tom Ackerman. From local news to breaking headlines to weather, traffic, and the stories that matter most, we've got you covered before your first sip of coffee. Expert analysis, bright perspectives from the people you trust. Total Information AM, your day starts here. Mornings beginning at 5 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
It's a hot one today. Sunny skies. We are approaching a high at 96. Heat index well above 100. Tonight, mostly clear. The low getting down to just 77. Your weekend forecast Saturday, sunny and hot, 97. Sunday, mostly sunny with a high of 94. Currently 91 degrees in St. Louis. Weather being sponsored by SNL Coins.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plate. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Hey, Jeff, looks like your business is really booming, even in a tough time for businesses like ours.
Hey, Mike. Yeah, thanks to LendSeek, our business was able to take care of some outstanding bills and taxes and to purchase inventory and expand our product lines.
Wow. You know, my business needs working capital, but only from a reputable company that I can trust and count on. How does LendSeek work?
Fast and easy. Just apply at lendseek.com. Their AI lending platform gave my business access to over 100 funding programs with one simple application. And it costs nothing to apply.
At lendseek.com, you can receive business funding with no collateral, no prepayment penalties, and no restrictions on how you use the funds. Whatever your funding needs are, seek no more. Our AI lending marketplace has you covered. If you've been in business at least 1 year with annual revenue of at least $250,000, you could get the funding your business needs in as little as 24 hours. There's no obligation, so apply today at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
Now, the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX. Sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
Here it is from O'Brien. A swing and a ground ball up the middle. Donovan backhands, plants, throws. He got him for a Redbird winner. A Redbird winner at Dodger Stadium. And the Cardinals take 2 out of 3 from L.A. and finish the road trip 3-3 to San Diego and Los Angeles.
The voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, will be joining us momentarily alongside of Mike Claiborne. My name is Matt Pauley. This is the Gashouse Gang right here on KMOX as we take you till 1 o'clock this afternoon. It's sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, also by Anderson Hospital. Tonight it is the Cardinals and the Cubs opening up a 3-game series, 7:15 first pitch, Redbird rush hour at 5 o'clock, leading right in to Cardinals coverage at 6:20. Claibs, the Cardinals just got done taking 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. And, man, I thought that Friday night game was as fun and as entertaining of a game as we have seen this year. And then I thought that series finale, the way they kind of stuck around, and then they came up with some big hits late, and the bullpen did a good enough job to kind of keep them in that game. There were some solid developments during that Dodger series.
Yeah, there was. There were a lot of solid developments with regard to watching players take over a role on this ball club. And, I thought the San Diego series was a pretty competitive one, too. Granted, you lost 2 of the 3, but I thought for the most part that they were in those games. They had a slow leak that ended up being a flat tire in a couple of them. But overall, now the trade deadline is behind you. There's not going to be a situation where help is on the way or anything like that. This is who you are. And I'm anxious to see how people respond to that. And some of these guys have responded well, and others are still trying to figure it out.
We've got a couple moments now with the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, and he'll be on the call, of course, tonight as the Cardinals and Cubs open up the series. John, thanks so much for taking some time. We won't take too much of your time. I just want to get kind of your thoughts on the news of the day with Yadier Molina is going to be in the dugout. We just talked with Oliver Marmol. He mentioned the fact that so many Cardinals greats over the history of this team have been able to lend their expertise to young players, and now it's an opportunity for Yadi to do that with this current group of young players.
Well, that's good news, and I always like to have Yadier Molina giving advice to Cardinal catchers and to anybody about how it is to deal with Major League life, as we have a lot of young players that are trying to make that transition and dealing with it on a day-to-day basis. It's a very long season, and how Yadi was able to get through it was kind of a miracle to me. We could go in the clubhouse after a game, and he'd be all wrapped up with the ice all over his arms and shoulders and legs and hips. He looked like the Michelin tire man. And then the next night, here come the Cardinals, and he's getting out there behind home plate and handling the pitching staff and playing like the future Hall of Famer he is.
Yeah, you know what, John? I don't think people take into account how difficult catching at the big league level can be between the foul balls and everything else that takes place. It is a very challenging job, and when we've seen Pedro Pages go through that this year as well, it's not easy. It's not easy at this level because those balls get to you. They find you. You don't find them in a lot of.
Well, you're right. And if you get hit like on the shoulder right there next to the padding, you're going to get hit there again before the ball game's over. I guarantee you
You're
that.
right.
It happens every time. I saw Carlton Fisk one night. Looked like somebody just painted a black and blue target on his shoulder. It was kind of something to see after a ball game. And he said, sure enough, he got hit like 3 times in the same spot. But here's the other side of it, where a manager likes to have a catcher who can look out there and see that the catcher knows what the manager's thinking and vice versa. And I think we're getting to that point, I think, with Oliver Marmol and with Pedro Pages and Joel Pozo has been in a learning situation. So I think they're getting there. But Yadier Molina was there shortly after he got to the big leagues. And Tony La Russa basically told him, look, I don't care what you hit. Just handle the pitching staff and win that side of the game. Yadi hit well in minors, and then he hit very well at the major league level, too.
John, I was thinking about you on Monday night. That was one of my absolute favorite games the Cardinals have played this year. It was so fun, so entertaining. Part of your job as a play-by-play broadcaster is you're on every single pitch, and your job is to be in the moment. On games like that are so fun and riveting, are you able to kind of enjoy them in the moment from a big picture standpoint, or is it maybe something more where you reflect upon it after the game has come to an end?
Oh, no, Matt, you enjoy that while it's going on. You take it in just like a fan would. And that was one of the most enjoyable games of the season. And I had a pretty good time with that one on Wednesday, too. But we are going to have games like Tuesday. Let's keep that in mind because this is a developing time for a lot of young pitchers. And even Miles Mikolas didn't have the game that he wanted. And Miles goes out there prepared. He just couldn't execute the way he wanted. And hopefully the next time out he will. And we saw what he could do the time before that as he pitched really well. But, no, you enjoy those while they're going on and learn to take those in because with a young team, the thing about a really young team, they will delight you and they will crush you too sometimes because they're going through that developmental period. And the really good ones, they'll make mistakes, but you rarely see them make those same mistakes again. And I think we're seeing that with a lot of these good young Cardinal players, and that will prepare this team as a core for what's going forward, going back to that Memphis Mafia group of Descalso and Craig and John Jay and that group. When they came up, they were ready to play. They contributed.
We might have lost John.
I think we lost him.
That's all right. Well, that was the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney. That's a great answer from him. And you can listen to him along with Ricky and Claves. We'll all be part of the broadcast in some form or fashion tonight as the Cardinals and the Cubs are opening up a series at Busch Stadium.
And don't forget, tonight after the game, we'll be at the Bullock across the street from the ballpark in the Live by Lowe's Hotel. We're going to have Lee Smith, Cardinal Hall of Famer, Major League Hall of Famer. In my opinion, the best closer the Cardinals have ever had. And you look at his numbers for the time he was here. There have been some good ones. You think about Suter and Worrell and certainly Isringhausen and most recently what Ryan Helsley was able to do. But when you look at the Lee Smith numbers and then look at the teams that he was part of, I don't know how he did it. I just don't.
Claves, he's one of the all-time great storytellers of former ball players as well. Yeah,
he's you know what, hanging out with him is like a treat, and I'm like, this is like Christmas in August for me to see and hang out with him and just talk to him because he's such a fun guy. And I know when he was playing, and even when he retired, Mike Shannon, I think that might have been if I could name Mike Shannon's all-star team of favorite players, Lee Smith would be on that team. And you know, one of these days I might. And just go by each position and what he would have thought of that individual, and I may come up with that here fairly soon.
That would be.
But that was one of his favorites.
I did an event with Lee years and years ago in Iowa, and he came on and he said, "Look, here's what I'm going to do. We're just going to do question and answers." And my first thought was, okay, he doesn't really have anything planned, and then I realized he has such amazing stories that doing questions and answers is a better program because you're going to get to. he's not going to come up with the stuff off the top of his head that he comes up with when
but you
he's
can lead him into
by
something.
questions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's at Friday Night Live by Lowe's over at the Bullock across the way. If you can't make it over there, you can always listen on KMOX. But Claibs, that's a good vibe. I think for people who are going to the game tonight, maybe making the trip over to Ballpark Village afterwards and being part of it, and maybe you get the chance to shake Lee Smith's hand, something like that. It's something that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they don't make him any better than him, and I'm glad he'll be part of what we're doing tonight. We don't have to worry about weather. We don't have to worry about anything. If we can get us a nice 2-hour and 12-minute game, Cardinals
don't
win
jinx it.
2-1. Yeah, right. Yeah, I just put the mojo. We'll be there for a while tonight now.
Yeah. I'm going to text you tonight when the show's ending at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's Mike Claiborne. I'm Matt Pauley. We're going to get one more break in. We'll come back. We've a lot of things to get to. We'll continue to talk to the Yachty situation, where the team's at right now. I think the bullpen situation is also something that's really interesting about what this team can accomplish between now and the end of the season. We'll get into all of that coming up. You are locked into the Gashouse Gang right here on KMOX.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent, or visit mofbinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're from Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
The KMOX City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra, heads to Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill in Wentzville, Thursday, August 14th. A limited number of fans can get an autograph or a picture with City SC left back Jay Reed. Register to win great prizes, enjoy great food and a cold drink. Hot Shots in Wentzville, the place to be Thursday, August 14th from 6 till 8 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call us now. $30 billion was set aside for meso victims, and in most cases, your claim is settled out of court without a jury trial. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Your home sold guaranteed, or I'll buy it. Hi, I'm Gloria Liu, broker owner at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And for over 20 years, I've been getting my home sellers the most money for their home and selling faster than the average agent. So when you're ready to sell your home or have questions, call me.
And I'm Debbie Monterey. For years, I've been telling you about Gloria Liu and why you should call her. Gloria has solutions and programs for every seller because she understands that every situation is different. Call Gloria and get your free instant home valuation, choose from multiple cash offers, or sell with certainty this summer because Gloria will guarantee upfront and in writing to sell your home at 100% of market value, or she will pay the difference. Hey, the St. Louis market is shifting. Now is a great time to call and get to know Gloria Liu like I have. Call 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and by Anderson Hospital on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Have about 10 minutes left in the program alongside of Mike Claiborne. My name is Matt Pauley. Dave Glover's show is going to be rolling her way when we get done. That will take you to 5 o'clock. That's when the Redbird Rush Hour gets rolling. Myself and Kevin Wheeler. And then we've got Cardinals baseball. Network coverage begins at 6:20 tonight here on KMOX. Claibs, I thought that series against the Dodgers, a lot of it was connected to what we saw from relief pitching, because in that second game, the relief pitching was unable to keep it close, and it got away from the Cardinals. Where in games 1 and 2, there were some really, really good moments for relief pitching. JoJo Romero coming in to get one out there to kind of keep it where it was. The way they used Romero in that first game, and then using O'Brien in the ninth. Just everything that went on Swanson and his appearance. It felt like in those 2 games that the Cardinals won, they win it largely because of what they got out of the relievers.
Oh, there's no doubt. And this is where managing comes into play, trying to find a lane for certain relievers. And the fact that, Ali only has one lefty in his bullpen. I don't know how you can have one left-handed reliever organization-wise. I mean, you traded off a couple of them. I get that. But at the end of the day, when you make that sort of move, you probably ought to have somebody to replace him, but you don't. So now you're working from a short deck where you don't have the lefty-lefty matchups that you would like to have. And still in all, you found ways to get people out. And I think it's a real tip of the cap, not only Ali and Dusty and those guys who are preparing to get these guys ready to go, but the guys who took on the challenge and responded in kind. And you know what? As much as we like to have matchups, in that situation, the good players find a way to get guys out on both sides, from both sides of the plate. And we're starting to see that from some of those guys.
When it comes to the lefty thing, I think it's really complicated because not only is it just one lefty in the bullpen, it's a lefty that if everything plays out the way you'd like it to play out, he's also the guy that you would like to have cover the ninth inning. So Claves, we've been around this game long enough. We know that having a defined role is really important. Well, JoJo Romero no longer has a defined role. Depending on how the game goes, he might be the lefty reliever to come in and get the final out of the 7th inning, or he might be the lefty reliever who's being used as the closer and is going to get the final 3 outs of the game. He does, and it's dictated by the way the game plays out. That's, Ryan Helsley knew that in the 9th inning it was time for him to go do his job. Guys know that at certain points in the game, Phil Maton could read the game and know when he was going to be coming in. With Romero, he's filling 2 separate roles. Sometimes he's the closer, sometimes he's the lefty guy, and he doesn't know until late in the game.
Yeah, the only thing JoJo should worry about is A, getting to the ballpark, and B, knowing he's going to pitch that night. Other than that, and as you mentioned, it might be the 7th inning, it might be the 9th inning, but we know JoJo's going to pitch. Now, the challenge that you run into is how many nights can you run him out there like that in a row? Fortunately, we're going to have some off days on Thursdays for this month, and I think all of next month their off days are going to be on Thursday. So you can kind of map around those sort of things, but it's going to be interesting to see how this works out. But it also should be a great indicator and a message to the front office where you can't leave your team short like this. You just can't. I mean, it's an unfortunate situation that we're all dealing with, but it'll be a lesson learned. And one of the other things as we're going through the evaluation period, you know what you're going to need for next year from a pitching standpoint already. I'd like to see a Phil Maton be back. I'd like to see another veteran arm in the bullpen. I think what we've seen from the guys that have been called up, I think that's probably as good as it's going to get. And they've all improved themselves. You'd like to see Fernandez have a better outing his next time out. But overall, I think everyone else has really accounted for themselves well and should be in the mix for next year.
Yeah, and they made a waiver claim from Miami. They made a waiver claim with Boston, Alcala coming in. And it feels like Mo talked about this when he did his media Zoom after the trade deadline, and he talked about it again with Sports on Sunday Morning and Tom Ackerman this past weekend, that it's at the point now where the types of things he would normally be doing at this time of the year would be forward-looking to the next season. He doesn't have to do that anymore. So in many ways, it feels like a lot of these decisions now that are going to impact 2026 and beyond, those decisions are probably being made largely by Chaim Bloom.
And well, they should. I mean, at this point, look, we still have baseball to play this year. And I don't want anybody to think that we're just going to raise a flag and give up. These games are as important to these players as they are to you and me and Cardinal fans, because these guys are trying to account for themselves to make sure they're part of what next year looks like. So it's not like somebody's going to take their ball and go home and give up or quit or whatever. Everybody's trying to build for what they are going to be perceived to be for next season. And the only way you can do that is play well this season.
Do you think that there needs to be, and there's a lot of base to be played. They're not buried in the wild card race. I mean, I don't think it's likely that this is going to be a playoff team, but that door hasn't completely shut yet, and we'll see what happens with some of these teams that are sitting in front of them. We know about the runway. We know about the opportunities for young guys, but specifically when it comes to some of these players who are in the minor leagues who probably are going to be in contention for a job in spring training next year, the Quinn Matthews who've got back-to-back good starts, obviously J.J. Weatherholt. Should there be a priority of maybe getting these guys' major league feet wet at the end of this season this year, just so they have a little bit of experience going into spring next year?
That's a great question, and I posed that to someone earlier this week. I think what comes into play is, when do you start the clock? When do you have a runway for them to perform at this level? Those are two things that come up right off the bat. You mentioned what we have as far as pitchers are concerned. So who do you remove from the rotation? And we're at a point now where, guys already made his money. So if you want to buy him out or sit him or whatever, you can do that. But I think when you look at a person like Weatherholt, and I'll ask you this question, where do you play him when you bring him up? And I think if you're going to bring him up, you have to play him every day. You just can't have him come up and watch. So where do you want to play him?
I think it'd be connected to, if Nolan Arenado is still on the injured list, I think I'd try to get him some time over at third. He's playing that a little bit in the minors.
Mm-hmm.
If Arenado's on the team, you force him into second somehow, and that's going to put Donovan into the outfield. And I'm well aware of the fact that they want to keep Donovan at second as often as possible. And I'm not saying that there's not value in that, but I think when you look at the value, it's the Mason Wynn situation. How much better, Claibs, was Wynn in his first full season because he got that 3 weeks of big league time the season before?
I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. I think the difference is there was room for Mason Wynn to play shortstop every day.
Yeah.
When you think about third base, you think about Arenado, you think about Gorman. Cardinals acquired a young man recently that's a third baseman as well. So it's pretty good logjam over there. So and while the other guy's behind Weatherholt as far as development is concerned, again, if I'm bringing him up, he's going to play every day. So that means somebody else is going to sit in third base situation. That means a couple of guys would have to sit. So I think they want to make sure there's a clear path. Now, my thinking on this also is maybe he's further along from a development standpoint where he doesn't need that sort of extra time. You remember, Mason Wynn came right out of high school. Okay. So he had to walk that level of progression. Unlike Weatherholt, where Weatherholt played college baseball. And when you think about the way college baseball is now, you come from a good program and out of a good conference, it's almost like AA baseball. So when you're 23, 24 years old, you're a little bit more of a finished product compared to a guy who's 20 years old or 21 years old trying to figure out the big leagues.
The Nolan Arenado thing really intrigues me because they've got him down in Jupiter right now. That's a little bit of a different spot.
Well, we know he's supposed to be in Jupiter today, okay? So what he's doing in Jupiter, I have no idea. I would think he's rehabbing his shoulder. That's what I'm thinking because we haven't heard anything else.
No, we haven't. But that's a different sort of the general process for these things is a guy will rehab in St. Louis and then head to Springfield or Memphis for a rehab. They've got him in Jupiter right now. The idea is to play with the Palm Beach Cardinals. And for Nolan's sake, I hope he gets healthy and I hope he can contribute. From the team's sake, I think there is an opportunity right now with him not around to get a guy like Nolan Gorman and some other people the playing time that they've talked about all season long. This is that opportunity. And we've seen Gorman and Walker's another guy here recently who's been swinging a hot bat. These guys are seemingly taking advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, they are. And, it took some of them a little longer than others, but that's what the season was set up for, to give these guys as much opportunity as you can. And I think most of them have responded in kind. There have been a couple that you kind of step back and you say, maybe too much we've seen too much of them to the point where we don't think this is going to be what the future should look like. And then you have others who are like, wow, we didn't know he could do this. We didn't know he could do that. And I'll give you a guy who I'm getting a kick out of was watching Riley O'Brien. I mean, he can touch 100. He gives you a different look out of your bullpen that we haven't had in a while. Watching him, Swanson is another guy. Leahy's another guy. I wouldn't be surprised to see Leahy get a start before the season's over with. Just to see what that looks like.
I think his long-term role is as a starter.
Well, we're going to need some starting pitching next year. By the way, we needed some this year too. But bottom line is, you look internally because, as we've learned, going out on the open market and trying to buy pitching is very expensive. And, as you look around, you see different guys, you say, he could be an inch. I'll give you a good example. I was watching Dylan Cease the other day, and I'm saying to myself, he would be a different look from a swing and miss standpoint compared to what the Cardinals have already in the rotation. And he's going to be a free agent. So maybe you make a small investment in a player like that. You don't want to sign him to a 5-year deal or anything like that, but because you want to buy yourself time for your own internal pitching to develop. So there's a lot of different scenarios I think that they're going to throw around this offseason. But I think it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what this team is going to be in need of come 2026.
That's Mike Claiborne. I'm Matt Pauley. You've been locked into the game to the Gashouse Gang right here on KMOX. Claibs, great stuff. We'll see you at the ballpark coming up later on today.
I'm looking forward to seeing you, my friend. Take care. We'll see you later.
All right. Very good. That's Mike Claiborne. Thanks to Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol, who joined us. The voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, joining us as well. Cardinals and Cubs tonight, 7:15 first pitch. Coverage begins with Redbird Rush Hour at 5 o'clock. Michael McGreevy, Matthew Boyd. That's the pitching matchup. The Dave Glover Show on the way next right here on KMOX.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with